Hello everyone, a very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to Unacademy. Welcome to this next part of this series of the basic concepts of data interpretation that we have been discussing. I'm Saral Nashier once again with all of you today. In this series, we have already discussed tables, pie charts, bar graphs, and the line graphs as well in the last few sessions. And I'm sure that you are comfortable with the basic concepts as well, because in the very first class we discussed that as well, right? So in the series of that, I mean those different kind of DI sets. Today again, I'm going to discuss some different type of sets with you that have been asked in CAT 2. So two of the sets I have taken from actual CAT itself, the kind of data interpretation that they have given us. So these two would be a completely new graph for you. You won't be able to put them into any of these categories like pie chart, line graph or something, but you would see there is some similarity between them, right? So, but I mean, these sets would also be an amalgamation of all those types that you see. So once we start doing, of course, you would understand it better, right? So very soon we shall start. Let's just wait for a few more seconds. Let the other people also join in for the class. Some people get this notification, after that they join us. So first of all, something about me. I am Saral Nashier, and you can see about all the things that I have done in my past, right? So, and if you are taking any kind of subscription on an academy, you have to use the code SARAL to get the maximum possible discount. Also, if you want to join me on my Telegram group, you see that I'm in Telegram channel's name as well, by the name of Saral Nashier underscore an academy, and you can follow me there too. There is a few more information that I want to give you before we move ahead. The first thing first, that currently I'm sure that many of you would have heard of it, that Unacademy has started this Unacademy Stars Summer 2024, the launchpad that you need to become an educator. So I'll tell you a little bit about this as well. Good afternoon, Shibam. And Shibam, by the time I just talk about it, can you just share this link of the class in some of your groups, so that whoever wants to do these classes, they would just know, because today's timings are a little changed. Generally I was taking this session every day at 4 o'clock, but I have some other engagements at 4 o'clock today, therefore I'm taking a bit early. So possibly some people actually do not know about it, that we have started this session at 2 o'clock itself. So if possible, Shivam, just share it in whichever group you are. I mean, you are on my Telegram group as well. Even if you share there as well, it will be good. So, Unacademy Star Summers 2024, it is the launch pad to become an educator. So, currently, Unacademy is not only going for students, it's also asking people to become an educator, right? So, you can become an educator with us. Of course, I don't need to tell the perks of becoming an educator. So, you would be getting attractive compensation there. You would be able to work with, a big workforce. Along with that, you will have a high reach among the students as well, because this Unacademy being India's largest education platform. So this is definitely going to help you. But just keep in mind that today is the last day to apply for that. By 12 p.m., by 12 midnight, try to apply for this. Now, what are we going to do in this? First of all, in the training program, so there is going to be a complete training for all of you for 12 weeks. You might be thinking, okay, I want to become an educator, but I don't have any specific training for that. I've never done that. So I don't know whether I would be able to do that or not. So there would be a complete 12 weeks training. There would be 50 educators, right? And apart from that, the mentorship would also be done by all the world-class educators that we have. So they would be doing it, and the application is currently open for all the categories that you see on the screen. If you want to apply, you will find the link in the description of this video. And who all can apply? Do you think that, okay, you need to have any specific degree? No. Any specific kind of experience? Not necessarily. If you are just passionate about teaching and you are a graduate, you can apply for it. Even if you are a professional or you are an educator anywhere else, still you can apply for that. Just keep it in mind that you have to fill it up by 12 midnight today. Okay, so that's all about Unacademy starts summer. So I think we can start with our session without any further delay. Here is the first data that we have with us here. Okay, so of course, some of the data is coming behind me, but I'll be of course showing you in a little while as well. So currently you can see the data behind me is a bar graph, but let's first read it together. There are two bar graphs given below. Figure 1, that's on your left, it shows the total number of runs scored by three batsmen, that is Rahul, Sachin, and UV, in five different cities: Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, and Mohali. Figure 2, which is on your right, it shows the percentage distribution of runs among these three candidates in these five cities. Percentage distribution means that what percentage of total runs have been made by Rahul, what percentage of total runs have been made by Sachin, what percentage have been made by UV. That all is mentioned over there as well. I'm sure this is clear to all. Now, on the left hand side, you see a table. On the right hand side, you see a bar graph. So let me just show you the bar graph once to have an idea. Table is straight away telling you that 5,000 is the number of runs scored by them in Ahmedabad. Similarly, 4,000 is the number of runs scored by them in Mumbai. In Chennai, it is 6,000, so on and so forth. So, I mean, those numbers are though written. I don't think even if they were not written, it was clearly visible to us. And if you see behind me, let me just hide myself for a second. So you see the bar graph, which is completely telling you that 25% of the runs in Ahmedabad are made by the first person, that is Rahul. And then I see 25% of the runs are made by Sachin and 50% are made by UV. Similarly, 25, 50, and 25 are the percentages in Mumbai. Then we have Chennai, then we have Delhi, and in Mohali. In Mohali, we have 0 at the top, which clearly tells you UV has not made any run in Mohali, whereas he has made 75% of the runs in Delhi. I'll be showing you these graphs later on as well while we are doing the questions. But currently, I just wanted you to have a look at it. But I'm sure that you all have seen it now. Okay. So this is all the data on which you would be answering the questions. So let me just show you the questions one by one. Straight away, I'll come to the very first question of this data set. Here is the first question. First of all, you try to answer. After that, we'll be talking about it together. So please try it first. Let me make sure that these words are clear to you because they are in black color, whereas the background is also black. Okay, Shibam has given the answer for this very first question. I would expect more answers though. In the last class as well, we saw many people answering. Let's start talking about it. In which city Rahul made the most runs? So what do I need to do for that? I'll have to calculate Rahul's runs. So Rahul has made 25% of the runs in Ahmedabad, where the total score is 5,000. So 25% of 5,000 is 1250. Rahul has made 25% of the runs in Mumbai, where total is 4,000. So 25% of 4,000 is 1,000. In Chennai, he has made 50% of the runs and total is 6,000. So 50% of 6,000 is 3,000. In Delhi, it is 10% of 7,000, which is 700. In Mohali, it is 60% of 4,000, which is 2,400. Among all these figures now, which figure you see is the highest? Because that's what the question is asking. In which city Rahul made the most runs? So can I say that Rahul has made the most runs in Chennai because he has made 3,000 runs in Chennai, which is the most runs that he has made. Shibam has answered correctly. Tushar has answered correctly. Latasha has answered correctly. Very good, guys. So, simple question. I'm sure you would have understood. That was a simple one. You could have done it easily as well, right? So, that's the right answer for this question. That is option B, which is Chennai. Now, one thing that I want to discuss over here that if I have calculated these values, and when I move on to the next question, once again I have to calculate these values in some other question. You would again be asking you somewhere that okay, where did Rahul? What is the average score? Made by Rahul in all these five cities. He might ask you where did Rahul score more than Sachin? He might ask you what is the difference between Rahul's and UV's score, right, in a particular city. In all those cases, I'll have to recalculate all these values which I have calculated. So why to do that? There are two graphs. Every time I'll have to look at the left graph, which gives me the total runs, then I have to calculate the right graph. And in this calculation again and again, I might make a mistake. And that's what I have been discussing in the previous sessions as well. If you would have seen in the last four sessions too, I told you that always try to, do the work initially so that you do not have to do the duplicate work again and again, right? Do the same thing once. So let's just make a table, write all the values. I can straight away then leave these graphs aside because they would not be anyways important for me then. So here, if I just move on and I make a table out of these, and the table says what are the total runs made in Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, and Mohali. I have calculated the percentages for Rahul, Sachin, and UV, and I have kept them in a table. Now it's not that difficult for me. I just have to look at the table and I have to answer the questions, right? Let's try that in the upcoming questions. You will see the difference as well. So here is question number 2 for all. Question number 2 is in how many cities Sachin made more runs than UV? Just try to answer this using the graph and then we'll try using the table and we'll see how much difference does that make. And if there is significant difference, that means it is worth doing that, right? It is worth doing. In how many cities Sachin made more runs than UV? Try this and give me the answer. In how many cities Sachin made more runs than UV? Shivam has answered very fast. He says option C, that is 2, the number of cities where Sachin made more runs than UV. Latasha has also answered fast. She also says C. Very good, Shivam. Very good, Latasha. Tushar, what did you get? Others? In how many cities Sachin made more runs than UV? Now see, if I just go by the graphs, so in how many cities Sachin made more runs than UV? So can I straight away say in the first city, Sachin has made 25% of the runs, UV has made 50% of the runs. That means whatever the total score in Ahmedabad is, I can definitely say that Sachin has scored lesser than Yuvraj because 25% of something will definitely be less than 50% of the same thing. But in Mumbai, Sachin scored 50%, Yuvraj scored 25%. Definitely Sachin scored more. In Chennai, they have scored equal 25-25. In Delhi, Sachin scored 15, Yuvraj scored 75. No. And finally, in Mohali, Sachin scored 40%, Yuvraj scored 0. So there also Sachin has scored more than Yuvraj. So that means Sachin has scored more than Yuvraj in Mumbai. I'm sorry, this is cross. Sachin has scored more than Yuvraj in Mohali, but he has not scored more than Yuvraj in Ahmedabad or Chennai or Delhi. In Chennai, they are equal. In Ahmedabad and Delhi, they are definitely not more, rather, they are less. So two cities is the right answer. That is option C, which everyone has answered correctly. Now here in this question, I would say that even without that table, I could have done with it, right? Rather, it's easier looking at the bar graphs. That's what the usage of these graphs is. Otherwise, why would have different kind of graphs? So in bar graphs, it's very easy. When you have a cumulative bar graph, this is a cumulative bar graph. In cumulative bar graphs, it's always easy to compare things within one particular graph, that which one is higher, which one is smaller. It becomes easy for you, right? Similarly, in line graphs, it's easy to figure out how much growth or how much decline is there from one area to the second area. So that ways you would see a different usage of line graph, bar graph. In pie charts also you get to know that which one is having the highest share, which one is having the lowest share, and clearly it's a visual representation that if it is higher, how high is that? If it is lower, how low is that? I mean, a 50 or 10 would not be visible to me that ways in a bar graph the way it would be available to me in a pie chart, right? A 50% pie and 10% pie. It will be clearly visible that how small and how large those two are, right? So here, even if I go by, I'm in the table, I could have answered the question, but I think bar graphs were better here. How many cities are there? Sachin made more than UV. Sachin did not make more than UV. Sachin made more than UV. They are equal. No, they are smaller. And Sachin again made more than UV. So there are two places, Mumbai and Mohali, where Sachin made more than UV. So my answer was correct as option C. Shivam, Latasha, Tushar all gave the right answer. I'll move ahead to question number 3. Let's see how many of you answered this correctly. Here is question number 3 now. Shibam once again has answered very fast. He says he scored different in all cities. That is option D. Latasha also says D. Tushar also says yes, different run. Can we have answer from anyone else apart from Shibam, Latasha, and Tushar? All three answered real fast. So in which two cities Rahul made the same number of runs? If I try to calculate the runs scored by Rahul in the cities, so in which two he has scored same number of runs, I can't say that Rahul has scored 25% here, 25% here, though they are equal. No, I can't say that. The reason is these two 25% they have different bases. This 25% is out of the total runs in Ahmedabad. This 25% is out of the total runs in Mumbai. So they might not be equal. Rather, if the bases are different, they're definitely not equal. But 25% of one of the cities might be equal to 50% of another city, might be equal to 10% of another city. Unless and until I calculate them, I'll not be able to say that which two are equal, which two are not. So here, once again, I would say probably table would have been better. That the initial work that we have done in the very first question, if those numbers are there with me, I do not have to calculate them again. Just I look at the table, it gives me the answer. Rahul has scored 1250, 1000, 3000, 700, 2400. No two are equal. My answer is D. He scored different in all the cities. That's absolutely right answer given by Shibam, Latasha, and Tushar. Right? That's question number 3, guys. I'll move ahead to question number 4. This first set is easy. The next two sets are going to be good because both are cat sets. Stay for them. Question number 4 now. So, what is your answer for question number 4? How many runs did UV score in all the 5 cities together? Tushar has given the answer as 6050, but then he says CBD. Okay. Latasha says C. Shibam says C. Tushar says cannot be determined. Okay, how many runs did UV score in all the 5 cities together? Once again, I would say if I calculate through the graphs, it's going to be difficult for me. I'll calculate 50% of this, I'll calculate 25%. These are the runs scored by UV then. So that's again going to be difficult. Once again, I would say had I had the table with me, the question would have been extremely easy. Let's look at the table. What does the table say? So scores done by UV are these. 2500 plus 1500 is 4000 plus 1000 is 5,000 and 5,000 plus 5250 is 10250. C option is the right answer. So for this question also I would say a table would have helped us a lot. Rather than calculating the values, a table would be useful. And see, here the set I have taken in which the figures I have taken, they are pretty easy to calculate. You can see that total runs are also I have taken as multiples of 1,000. Percentages also I have taken as 25, 50, 40, 60, right? None of them is a difficult percentage to calculate. But if the total runs are 3, 3, 8, 9 in a particular city and someone has scored 37% of that, then the things would not be that easy, right? So they are doing these calculations again and again, it will be very difficult for you. So therefore, I am saying just judiciously see that which one should I do? Should I use this? Should I use that? And that way you'll be able to answer. सर मैंने 5250 सचिन में डाल दिया. Okay, that's possible. Tushar. But that does not mean you mark CBD. That means you try again with your answer, right? Just see what mistake are you making. CBD means it cannot be calculated. You answered CBD assuming that I could not calculate, right? Question is saying cannot be done. You are saying could not be done by me. So these are two different things. I'll move ahead to question number 5, the last question of this particular set. Give me the answer now. Try to answer this one. Question number 5 is here. I would like to see some answers before I start discussing this as well. Once again, Shibam has given the first answer. That's great. He says B is the right answer. Good, Shibam. In how many cities one batsman scored more than two-thirds of the total runs? What is the right answer for this question number 5? In how many cities one batsman scored more than two-thirds of the total runs? Tushar also has answered B. So once again, when I look at this question now, this time, I think again the graphs are going to be more useful for us rather than using the table. Why? Question says, in how many cities a batsman has scored more than two-thirds of the total runs? Two-thirds in terms of percentages is 66.67%. So in how many cities a batsman has scored more than 66.67%? In Ahmedabad, no one scored more than this. In Mumbai, no one scored more than this. In Chennai, no one scored more than this. In Delhi, Yuvraj has scored more than 66.66%, and in Mohali, no one scored more than this. There is only one city, that is Delhi, in which someone has scored more than 66.66%. Rather, in this case, if I go to table and start calculating that, probably that will be a very bad approach. That I made a graph, there was a graph given to me, I made a table from them, and then from the table I'm calculating the percentages. Oh God, I made the table using those percentages only. So why to go there, right? Why to go back? So using this only, I could have answered the question. That's option B, which is equal to 1. And that was the first set for today. And I see Shubham, Tushar, and Latasha, you all have answered all the questions correctly. Tushar just made a mistake in one of the questions. So now we move on to some two different kind of DI sets that have appeared in CAT. We have seen line graphs, we have seen bar graphs, we have seen pie charts. What other types can be there? Nowadays, we have different kind of graphs in DI that exams do ask us. There is something called radar graph. There is something called sunburst chart, right? That's also a name of one of the graphs, right? There is a bubble chart as well. Z asked a question on a bubble chart, rather, even Cat asked once. There is a triangular graph. There are different kind of graphs, and it becomes little difficult to read them during the exam times. It's always better to see them once beforehand. Yes, scatter spider, that was way back. I think I remember a spider graph that I first see in 2003, the spider web graph, right? 2003. After that, I have not seen it much. But yes, a similar graph has appeared later on as well, right? You can call it a spider web graph as well. And the very first graph that I'm going to discuss, Tushar, is that spider web graph only that you might be talking about. But people do call it radar graph as well. I mean, the nomenclature does not make a difference. I can start calling it Saral graph. I can start calling it Tujar graph. How does that make a difference? The point is, I should be able to understand that how are they representing the data and how can I understand the chart there. That's what is important. So let's start talking about that. Here is that chart that with all of you, okay, the stable was not important. There is another info here as well. If any one of you is not on my Telegram group, please scan this QR code and it will straight away take you to the group and you can join me there for all the upcoming sessions. There are a lot of discussions that are happening over there for all of those. Plus, you can also follow me on the Unacademy app just by again scanning this QR code. It will take you to my profile and you can follow me too for all the free classes as well. If you are a student of Unacademy, of course, then again it is going to benefit you about all those classes. Otherwise, you can also follow me for the free classes that I keep taking. Now, this is the graph. Possibly, Tushar, you are also talking about the same graph because this is from the recent years. There was another spider web graph that they asked in 2003, something based upon employability and all. So this is also similar to that, quite similar to that. That was a little different from that. So here is this graph that appeared in CAT. Let's read it first. 5 vendors are being considered for a service. The evaluation committee evaluated each vendor on 6 aspects. They are cost, customer service, features, quality, reach, and reliability. Okay. Each of these evaluations are on a scale of 0, that is worst, to 100, that is perfect. The evaluation scores on these aspects are shown in the radar chart. Now they are calling it a radar chart. For example, vendor 1 obtains a score of 52 on reliability. Vendor 1 scores 52 on reliability. Where is that in the graph? Reliability is here. Vendor 1 is represented by this light blue line. This light blue line is actually here that you oversee, right? He says it is 52. I remember doing this graph when I appeared for the exam. It was in my slot itself. So when I appeared for it, the moment I looked at this 52, I was a little disappointed because it means I will have to see that the value is 50. Generally, the values are of the type 50, 55, 60, 65. Normally, they would be like that. But if it is just above 50, so I would be calling it 52, 53 as well. So that makes the thing a little tough for me, right? But there is a bigger question as well that many of you would be having, and I would be happy to answer that question. Sir, how can we say it is exactly 52? Possibly it's 51. I might have read it as 51. Possibly it's 53. Someone might write 53. Why is it not 52.5? How are we going to find out it is exactly 52? Vendor 2 obtains a score of 45 on features. So on features, vendor 2 is scoring 45. So this I can probably say it is 45 because it is exactly between these two values, right? It is exactly between these two. So this I can say 45. Vendor 3 obtains a score of 90 on cost. So this is 90. I can say this lies on the line of 90. But how about this? How can I say it is 52 or 53? How would I tell about this? It is 75 or 76. How would I say about this? It is 62 or 63 or 61. These things are going to be very difficult for us. It's more of an eye test that you have to figure out that how much is that gap, and if that gap is divided into 10 parts, so would this be equal to 2 or 1 or 3? So with my experience, I'm telling you about this. It does not make a difference. In CAT exam, it would not make a difference, right? Of course, you would not take it something, out of imagination. For example, if I start calling this 52 as 50, no, it's not 50 because it is not lying on the line of 50. I cannot call it 55 because it is not lying exactly between 50 and 60, right? But if I take it as 51 or 53, I'm definitely sure the questions that they are going to ask us, it's not going to make a difference for sure. Wherever you see a doubt, sir, I'm not able to understand whether I should call it 68 or 67 or 69. Take any one of the three, I'm absolutely sure it would not make a change to any of your answers for any of the questions. That's not what CAT does. They are not checking your eyes. They are not checking whether you can find out that if this small gap is divided into 10 parts, would you be able to figure out that it is at the second line or the third line? They don't do that. So just do not bother about it. I've seen many students actually they start bothering about it. So this is very difficult. How would we figure out this is equal to this or that or what? See, if it is exactly on a line, then it's a multiple of 10. If it is exactly between two lines, then it's a multiple of 5. Otherwise, you can take 1 plus or 1 minus from the value that is actually there. That is not going to change it. Now, the second problem that I face in these sets when I was doing at that time as well, I'm sure you would also face it. Calculating the values for reliability is easy because 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 are written. But that's not easy for reach or quality or features. The moment I see that what is this value, how would I calculate this? So I'll have to first see this line. I'll have to trace it back. That okay, this line is for 60. So therefore this line must be for 50. So this will be slightly above half of that. So it might be 56, 57 kind of thing. But it's very difficult and you might make a mistake once again here. So carefully, let's do one thing, as I said always. Why to get into this difficult graph again and again for each and every question? Make a table. Write all the values once and then your job is done. So let's do that on the next page. I made a table. Vendor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Their scores on reliability, reach, quality, features, customer service, and cost that I would be writing in the table. Let's start with reliability first. Vendor 1 has a value of 52 that was anyways given to us in the information as well. Vendor 2 is the orange one. It is exact 40. Vendor 3 is the green one. It is, I would say, around middle of 70 and 80. I can take it as 75. You can take it 76 as well. It's around 75, 70. So definitely not 79, 78, but 75 or 76 can be taken. And then fourth one, which is the blue one, it is slightly above 25 in my opinion. So I would take it as 27. You can take 26, 28, does not make a difference. And the fifth one, which is dark blue, it is exactly on 60. Let us talk about reachability now. In reachability, the first graph, which is equal to this, it is exactly equal to 80. I hope you would agree. This is exactly 80. Then this is vendor 5, which is exactly 70. Right? This is vendor 5 exactly 70. Then I have this, which is vendor 3. Now vendor 3 is below 70 but closer to 60. I can call it 62 or 63, completely your choice. Below that I see a value which is slightly below 60. You can call it 59 or 58, right? This is this one. And lastly, I have this value here, which is around slightly below 50. So I can call it at 48 as well. So this is the value. As I said, 48 can be taken as 47 as well, 49 as well. That's your choice. And that ways you can decide these. So that ways I can write all these values. I don't think there would be a problem, right? Once we write all these values, our job is done. Write it for quality, write it for features, customer service, and cost as well. And once that all is there with us, we can answer this question fast. So I've already made this table. I've written all the values and I don't need the graph anymore. So therefore, I'm not writing, I've been putting that graph anywhere. Let's start doing the question. In which aspect is the median score of 5 vendors the least? Now, possibly for this question, I would say a graph also could have helped us. How? Let me just show you the graph as well. Okay. So I'll have to decrease the size a little bit. So yes. Now question is saying on which aspect the median score of the 5 vendors is the least. Okay. Hi music core, good to see you always. On which aspect median score of the 5 vendors is the least? What is a median score? Median score is the score that lies in the middle. Median score is the score that lies in the middle. If I calculate that score, which is there in the middle, let's talk about reliability first. On reliability, the highest is 75, second highest is 60. What is in the middle? 52. On reachability, the highest is 80, second highest is 70, which is in the middle? 62. On quality, the highest is 72, the second highest is 70, on the middle I have 62. On features, the highest is 90, the second highest is 75, in the middle I have 57. On customer, I have, highest is 70, second highest is 55, in the middle I have 50. And on cost, I have highest as 90, second highest as 80, and the third highest is 78, which is the median. Median is the value which lies in the middle. Median is the value which lies in the middle. I might look like a ghost to you currently, but I have no electricity. But I want you guys to keep seeing me. So therefore, I'm just keeping it on. Okay. So these are the six medians in reliability, reach, quality, features, customer service, and cost as well. Question is saying on which, if I look at all of them, the least is this, which is customer service. So my answer is going to be option C, that is customer service here. Okay. Customer service is the right answer for this question. I hope you all agree. So let me just switch on my flashlight. It should not, give you jitters that who is teaching. Getting that median value would be probably easy to the graph, in my opinion. That's what basis I am saying. Yes, can you guys? The internet is working fine. Now? No, it's not. It's dropping again and again. Yes, I hope it's okay now, guys. Can you please confirm it once with me? Shivam, Tushar, Latasha? No, it's dropping. Yeah, in the middle, sometimes it's okay, but then again it suddenly drops. Though the internet is working fine, I'm getting a good speed as well.